Most of the process is money laundering. Now, money laundering, from our perspective, is inhumane and an act against the state. But this inhumane and anti-state criminal activity, the fact that the standards depending on the era are changing regarding this, what are your thoughts? To put it simply, we might think that the less money laundering the better it is. But in some eras, on a national scale, the state there was a time when large-scale money laundering was actually permitted. When was that? I'll keep it brief and move on. But it was during the Cold War. And why was that during the Cold War? Because it was literally a bipolar system between the US and the Soviet Union. So, while the US and the Soviet Union were in a state of intense confrontation, money could still cross borders freely. But since the money was actually moving through banks, legitimate money couldn't move back and forth between the US and the Soviet Union, so it had to go through the Vatican, Switzerland, or Liechtenstein. Why did they have to move this money? The US, for its part, needed to provide funds to the resistance and free trade unions within the Soviet bloc, and they had to funnel those funds, while the Soviets, for their part, had to provide money to their spies in the West, which is why this channel was necessary. This isn't the whole story, but this definitely existed. And then, existing as parasites on this, European hubs like the city of London, Switzerland, Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, places like these, all within this Cold War framework, asserted their sovereignty to become hubs for money laundering. Think about it. Then, when did the Cold War end? In the late 1980s. It's over. Before the Cold War ended, regarding money laundering, global rules or things like that probably weren't that common. Right? They weren't common. So, the strict standards regarding money laundering that we know about now, when did the international movement toward them begin to appear? From the late 1980s to the early 1990s, over a period of 3 years, they poured out. When was that? That was when the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc it's time to collapse. From the US perspective, if places like Switzerland or the city of London, which are havens for money laundering, were left completely alone, the cost would be too high. Moreover, a certain event occurs, right? In 2001, the 9/11 attacks happened, and because of 9/11, the US wanted to completely control the flow of money within the global financial system. Even so, Switzerland remained. Switzerland was still there. But when Switzerland got hit, it was 2009, after the 2008 Wall Street Lehman Brothers collapse.